Hi guys, it's Joe Tommaso from the 15 Minutes With podcast. Our show is geared toward helping to keep not only teens but people in general out of our jails and prisons. Our show is unique in the fact that we use real inmates throughout the country and they explain not only about the cases that caused their incarceration, but why it's so important for people to stay out of prison and remain free. Speaking of free, have you heard about the newest and best way to put your podcast out there for the world to hear? Let me tell you about Anchor. Anchor is the easiest way to produce and distribute your ideas, your podcast, and the best part, it's free. There's even a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you so people can hear it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other listening platforms. You can even make money from your podcast, and there are no minimal amount of listeners required. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm and get started.
Hey everybody, and thanks for listening to this edition of 15 Minutes With. I'm Joe Tommaso, and if you like the show, please make sure you click the like and the subscribe button no matter what platform you're on, and you can click the notification button and you will know as soon as we put out new content. Also, if you'd like to help me keep this show going, please make a donation to paypal.me/JOETOMASO. That is paypal.me/JOETOMASO. So tonight I want to discuss something that's serious and about as serious you can get, and that's an execution that's coming up. Today is November the 14th, 2019, and on November 20th, which is 6 days, actually less than 6 days from now, Rodney Reed will be put to death in the state of Texas for a rape and a murder that he did not commit. Back in 1996, the body of Stacy Stipes was found by the side of the road. She had been strangled with a belt. The original suspect in the case was Stacy Stipes' boyfriend at the time that she was engaged to, who was a Giddings police officer by the name of Jimmy Fennell. Fennell was quickly taken off that list of suspects, and bang, as you know it, Rodney Reed was the new suspect. And later on down the road, they found DNA also linking Reed to the actual homicide. However, as the years went by, more and more evidence kept coming out that Reed was innocent. The Innocence Project, well known, the Innocence Project, actually has a file on Reed and evidence that you would not believe. Family members that have come out from the woodwork, friends, all kinds of people that stated numerous things. Stacy Stipes coming around looking for Rodney Reed at his home. More importantly, the fact that on more than one occasion, this Giddings police officer, who was later convicted of a rape of a woman from a domestic violence case that he had been working on, and he served 10 years for that. While he was in prison, he had to seek protection because he used to be a police officer, and police officers do not fare well in prison. He went to the Aryan Brotherhood, sought protection, and told them that he had to kill his girlfriend. In addition to that, he also said that he would kill his girlfriend and use a belt to another police officer, and he stated to another police officer, yet a third person, that he had in fact killed his girlfriend. How in God's green earth can we find an innocent man behind bars who's going to be executed, according to Governor Greg Abbott, he's going to get some Texas justice on the 20th of November, while the killer, self-admitted killer, is out there on the streets? I just don't get it. Anyways, Rodney Reed tried to contact me. I had written him and advised him that I wanted to have him on the show. The phone calls at death row are limited to 3 minutes. We tried to get it hooked up, but GTL kept dropping the call. So I did the next best thing. What you're going to hear coming up is an interview between myself and Rodney Reed's brother, Richard. Listen, guys, after you hear this and you hear some of the content that's in here, you're going to have to ask yourselves, how are we going to let an innocent man die? Governor Greg Abbott, I'm making sure that I send you a copy of this show in its entirety via email and through Twitter. I hope that you listen to it, and my God, I hope that you halt this execution. Thanks for listening, guys. Here goes the show. Okay, so this is Joe Tommaso from 15 Minutes With, and I'm speaking to Rodney Reed's brother. Is this Roderick?
No.
Okay, what's your name, sir?
My name is Richard.
Okay, Rich. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what's going on, with Rodney right now. As we know, unfortunately, he's scheduled to be executed 6 days from now. And I, for one, just like a lot of other people, believe that he is innocent, and believe that it's very possible that Jimmy Fennell may be the individual that actually did this homicide and it was not your brother. Can you tell me a little bit about what's going on right now? Any way they're trying to stop it other than other people, stepping in, etc.?
Well, right now, my brother Rodney, he's one of the main speakers for Rodney. And I just dropped him off at the airport early this morning. He went to Washington, D.C. to express what's going on.
Okay, so you're trying to get the word out even in Washington as far as what's going on. Now, for those who, I'm going to go over a little bit as to what the case is over. Back in 1996, Rodney was accused of killing a woman by the name of Stacy Stykes. My understanding is that the actual relationship between Stacy and Rodney was consensual. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and I also understand that Jimmy Fennell at the time was a police officer. I actually did find some other stuff where he made statements to other individuals that it was not him, not Rodney, that actually did this, that Jimmy Fennell had actually committed, the murder. So, I mean, how does this make you, feel knowing that this individual who went out and later raped somebody else basically set your brother up and is now a free man while your brother's sitting in prison?
Run that by me again.
Okay, how do you feel knowing the fact that Jimmy Fennell, who is most likely the killer in this case, is out there a free man while your brother, Rodney, is in prison right now for a crime he did not commit?
How do I feel about it?
How do you feel about it?
I feel terrible about it. It's not a good feeling.
Okay, so let me ask you, you guys have been through the appeals process. I mean, I've already said Governor Abbott should at least, at a minimal, stop this execution. I believe myself that Rodney's an innocent man, and apparently I'm not alone. There's a lot of forensic evidence. There's numerous admissions of guilt by Fennell. Why do you think they're not listening to everything that's going on? I mean, I have an idea myself, but why do you guys think they're not listening?
I really feel like they're listening, but I don't feel like they're responding on it right now because of technicalities. It's politics tied up in that. So that's the way I look at it.
Well, I got to tell you, the governor made a statement, and he's made this statement about Texas justice quite a few times, and I think true justice, not just Texas justice, but true justice would be served if they actually stopped this execution.
Greg Abbott, Governor Greg Abbott, he's supposed to be a God-fearing Christian. And I feel like he's just holding back until that moment to say anything about it.
Well, I hope that Governor Abbott actually takes a step back, looks at all this extra evidence that's out there that may or may not have been available at the time that everything happened, and actually does stop the execution. I believe that, your brother should get a new trial. I believe that he would most likely be found innocent. I don't know if they can try Jimmy Fennell, but I think the most important thing right now is to see that Rodney, who is innocent, is freed and is able to come back and try to make some kind of a life for himself.
Yeah, I think they should go ahead and give him they didn't present during his trial, like witnesses and different things, just like the beer cans and stuff like that.
Right. My understanding, too, with the beer cans is they actually found DNA from officers that were on scene on those beer cans.
Yeah, that was never presented in court.
Right. Exactly.
With that being said, if they give them a new trial, they're going to present all that stuff.
I hope, to God that they actually do get to do a new trial. I hope to God that Rodney is released back into the public. I hope that the governor, being a God-fearing man, is actually going to put a stop to this. So if you had...
ask him to do it, just do the right thing. Just do the right thing.
Right. My thing is, if you had the governor or even I've been reading so many things. I mean, let's face it, the politicians, not just the politicians, but the prosecutors and the judges, they don't want to admit that they made wrong because they made wrong, and I can understand where they don't want to do that, but I would not tell them to put an innocent man in the position that Rodney's in right now. So if any of those people were in front of you right now, the judges, even Governor Abbott, what would you say to them?
I'd let them know, hey, God knows all, he sees all. And all we ask you to do is do the right thing. If you're wrong, it takes a real man to admit he's wrong. It takes a real woman to admit she was wrong. So just come out and do the right thing. That's all I ask.
That's pretty much the same thing. All of our listeners are asking the same thing, that Governor Abbott does the right thing and puts a stop to this, and that the prosecution takes another good look at this case. I mean, an innocent person is sitting on death row right now when a person who has admitted on numerous occasions to doing this crime is allowed to walk free.
Right, man. It's just an ugly episode. It's just a storm this whole family's going through. And it's the storm that Stacy's family going through because justice has not been prevailed.
Well, that's something else too. I mean, Stacy's family was told that with Rodney being arrested and Rodney being tried, that the case is over. I mean, I got to think for a second how they're going to feel when it gets found out and this new evidence comes to the forefront that Rodney did not do this.
Yeah, I mean, the truth make you free. The truth sets you free, and they should feel relieved that, hey, we were wrong. The truth is out. Our bad,
Mm-hmm.
It's hard for them to admit they was wrong, but Rodney spent all these years tied up in some mess that he had nothing to do in a cell that's so damn small, 23 hours a day.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And then he's let out for rec 1 hour a day. And when he's out for rec, he's out there by himself, nobody to talk to.
Well, that's a really, I mean, my understanding is, he's not even, seeing, he may see the sun, but he doesn't get to see the trees, the grass, or any of that. It's just a concrete pad, and that's no way for a person to live, let alone an innocent person.
Inhumane. A dog in a dog pound is more freer than my brother is right now.
Well, Rich, I really, really hope to God that the governor of Texas, if he hears this, God, please, I hope that he does, put a stop to this nonsense and gets Rodney a new trial. And I pray to God that everything does work out and Rodney is a free man soon.
That's right. Jesus says, for those who have an ear, let them hear. And I hope he open his ears and hear what's going on,
There's a lot of people. I mean, you have Kim Kardashian, who's a high-profile person, and Dr. Phil, who's a high-profile person. But there's a lot of regular, everyday people that are saying, my God, look at this.
Yeah.
You know, so I think the governor should look at the people that are saying this to him and actually take a good look and say, well, wait a minute. All these people cannot be wrong.
Right. And see, before these people got exposed to it,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it was lots of people didn't know nothing about it. But when Dr. Phil got grip of this, he like kicked in the door, and it grew like wildfire. People tuned in because there's a lot of people that don't really tune in to Dr. Phil, but like commercial breaks, different networks like that. Dr. Phil will come across the screen and he'll bring up this subject with my brother, and it's a lot. I'm pretty sure it's a lot of people like tune in and say, "Well, I gotta check this out. I gotta check this out." And then when they saw it, then they kind of feel what we're going through over here.
Well, there's a lot of people that really feel, bad, myself included, for what the family's going through, what Rodney's going through. This is right down to the wire right now, and they need to, the sooner they stop this, the better. You don't want this to stop at the 11th hour, but you want it to stop sooner. But my God, don't wait until the 11th hour to stop this. Stop this now.
Yeah, it's a very ugly thing going on right now, but a lot of people don't realize how urgent this is, because once it hit home, you don't ever know until it hits your home. When it hits your home, then you'll really feel kind of about what we're going through right now. It's just that urgent.
Right. My thing is too, I've seen Texas do this before. I've seen other places do this before, where innocent people, God, please, I hope this doesn't happen this time. Innocent people have been, put to death, and then all of a sudden new evidence will come out a year, 2, 5 years later, and then they're like, whoops, we are bad. That's not going to bring somebody back, and it shouldn't have to get to that point.
Just like my brother Roger said, if you can't give back a life, don't take it.
Exactly.
'Cause I have a classmate. I had a classmate. He was put on death row, and then years later, come back, he was innocent. He had been hunting, and the lady he was having an affair with, she ends up dead. Blood everywhere, gunshot, boom. They went to his house and investigated, and they got some of his clothing. Had blood on it. They didn't test for DNA then, because it wasn't that deep then.
Right.
But then years later, they test his clothes, and they discovered it was blood from an animal. It wasn't human blood.
God.
So.
Well, I hope to God that this does not go to the 11th hour. I hope to God that your brother gets freed. There are a number of people, I'd say thousands and thousands of people right now, that are pulling that Rodney gets freed.
Yeah, because it's mental torture to the family and, all the loved ones and stuff, people that know him, friends and stuff like that. It's mental torture.
Well, there was just a guy that I actually watched maybe 2 days ago that came out and was on death row with Rodney, and they just exonerated this guy, in the same, and he said he's been in Rodney's shoes, and you definitely do not want to be where Rodney is right now.
Yeah.
And the other thing that the governor doesn't realize is not only is this putting Rodney through this, but it's also putting your entire family through this. Your family has to live with this, and I'm sure that these last, since 1996 until now haven't been easy, but now that we're sitting at this point in time, it's got to be even worse, and I can't even imagine how you guys feel.
Let me tell you about the ugliest part to this situation. My mom, during pre-trial, they asked my mom, did she know Stacey Stites? And she told the prosecutor, yeah, I know her. How you know? Well, she'd been in my house plenty of times looking for Rodney, asking for Rodney.
Mm-hmm.
So they put my mom under a gag order. That way she couldn't talk to the press or nobody about it until after trial, where, so right before trial, they made my mom take another oath. And they made my mom a witness for the prosecutors.
Oh, my God.
For the prosecutor. So with that being said, she couldn't be in the courtroom supporting her son, my brother. She couldn't be in that courtroom. She had to sit on the outside of that courtroom every day waiting to be called. They never called my mom, and that was their tactic to,
They wanted her out of the picture because she had evidence that would clear your brother.
Right. They made my mom their witness when my mom's supposed to have been the defense, my brother's witness. And that's the ugliest part about it. My mom, she couldn't say nothing for my brother. They put her under a gag order where she couldn't talk to the press or anybody about what was going on, or she'd be held in contempt of court.
Now you're saying that before this all happened, Stacey Stites used to go to your house trying to find your brother.
Yeah, she'll come by. I wasn't here, but my mom, she's here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I mean, obviously, numerous people, myself included, think that Jimmy Fennell did this. Jimmy Fennell actually admitted to doing this. Not only that, but the other crime that he was convicted of committing. I mean, you're Rodney's brother. Do you think that Jimmy Fennell did this?
I really feel like he had. Well, yes, he had something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
You say he did it, but my deep gut says he did it because of the time of death. Because
mm-hmm.
she's supposed to have been on her way to work.
Mm-hmm.
While being there with Jimmy, she's supposed to be on her way to work. But when they found her body, they came to a conclusion she was dead way long before she's supposed to have went to work.
That's what we were looking at too. There's a lot of forensic evidence showing that she should that this it didn't point to your brother. A lot more evidence pointed to Jimmy Fennell. I think part of the reason that Jimmy Fennell was ruled out as a witness is the police department didn't want to look bad either.
They never investigated their apartment. I feel like Jimmy killed her, and he didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a state of shock after he killed her, and he left the apartment.
Mm-hmm.
He left, and he come back, trying to figure out what he can do with her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking she's already dead. She's already dead. He come back to the apartment, and then early that morning, he dumped her body.
I mean, for people who aren't aware, Jimmy Fennell actually did admit to not one but two different police officers the fact that he did kill Stacey. He did actually state to one, because one of them said that they would find 4 fingerprints on her neck, and Fennell stated he would actually kill her with a belt, and that was the method that was used. On top of that, it just seems that there's been 2 different police officers that investigated this case on their own, and they're not here to talk about it anymore either.
Well, I never heard anything about Jimmy admitting to this crime. I never heard anything. He to me, I feel, no, I haven't heard it.
Yeah.
He's denying it all the way through.
Well, he denied it, but apparently when he was doing time in prison, he had to...
He testified to one of his cellmates.
Yep, exactly. Yep. One of the cellmates actually came forward and stated that Jimmy had told him that he killed Stacey Stites. Then, like I said, there was actually 2 other police officers that came forward and said it too. Now, you got 3 different occasions right there where Jimmy Fennell came out and said he did this. That in itself should be reason to give Rodney a new trial.
Yeah, I mean, he's locked up and in prison, and he wants protection, so he go to one of the Aryan brothers. You know, they highly racist.
Mm-hmm.
And he admitted to him, I don't know why he did it, but he admitted to him that, yeah, he had to kill his nigga-loving fiance. And I don't know why, but I guess God put it in his heart, the cellmate, put it in his heart to come out and say something, because there's an innocent man out here getting ready to be executed behind some bull that Jimmy Fennell did.
Exactly. That's my exact feeling. This guy came out and said, listen, you know, Rodney Reed is set to be executed for something he did not do. Let me do the right thing. And that's what other people have done as well. And, I mean, the prosecution needs to sit there, and the governor as well needs to say, wait a minute, there's so many people coming out, and there's physical evidence as well. They need to stop and actually put the brakes on this and get a new trial out there.
Especially for somebody from, like, that Aryan brother gang, whatever, to come forward and say, hey, you know, God gives us a heart. He knows our heart.
Mm-hmm.
The devil messes with the mind.
Mm-hmm.
God knows our heart, and God did something to that guy to make him come forward, to make him testify about what Jimmy said. Jimmy killed her and stuff like that, and he said back, he might be racist, but he got a heart.
Yep.
Wrong is wrong, you know. I don't care how racist you are.
Well, that's the thing. He came out, even though he's a racist, he came out and said the right thing. He said, hey, look, you know what? I may feel this way, but I also feel an innocent man should not be put to death for something he didn't do.
That's right. That's right.
Rich, I really appreciate the time that you took to talk to me. I'm going to get this out over the air to my listeners and hope to God that the governor does put the brakes on this. At minimal, puts the brakes on this, but I hope they all do the right thing. I really do. I want you to know that, you know, myself and my listeners, we all, you know, we're with you through this, and hope to God that this comes out okay.
My gut feeling, you know, my faith is strong, and I really do believe that my brother won't be executed.
I really hope to God he's not too.
He won't, because God got the final say. He said vengeance is his.
Nope.
Well, I'm going to let him handle it.
Right. Well, Governor Abbott, like I said earlier, if you are listening to this and this makes it to you, it's important, to say the least, that you put the brakes on this and let Rodney Reed get a new trial.
And I know Greg Abbott, you know, like I said, he's supposed to be just God-fearing Christian man.
Mm-hmm.
While he's in office, I know he don't want no blood on his hands under his watch.
Right.
While he's in office, he don't want that.
I don't think anybody wants, not just the blood on their hands, I don't think anybody wants to see an innocent man go through what your brother's going through and what your family
Well, all I
through.
ask him to do is just do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it looks ugly for the state or not, right is right and wrong is wrong. The truth never change.
Exactly.
The truth never change, and the lie will flip 1,000 times a day.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we just ask him to do the right thing.
That's what we're going to do, Rich. We're going to all ask him to do. Thousands of people are doing that right now. I mean, they've been sending him messages through Twitter, Facebook. They've been calling the office of the prosecutor. They've been calling the governor's office. They're going to hear this loud and clear.
Just like all these outside people that's supporting my brother, that's in my brother's corner, I feel like Greg Abbott should be in my brother's corner too, because it's wrong, it's ugly. He got to put himself in the family's position. If this was his son or his daughter or his father or anybody in his family, he wouldn't want this to go like it's going.
Right. Well, that's why we all hope that he actually puts the brakes on it and stops it now.
Just do the right thing, Greg Abbott. I hope you hear this, buddy.
Thank you, Rich.
All right. No problem, man.
Thank you for listening to 15 Minutes With. I hope you've enjoyed this edition. If you have enjoyed this edition of 15 Minutes With, please hit the like and the subscribe button. You can also help me keep this show going and watch it get better by donating to paypal.me/Joe Tomaso. That address again is paypal.me/JoeTomaso. 15 Minutes With is constantly looking for new content to upload and new people to interview. If you would like to share your story, or if there's someone you would like to see us interview, please email us at insidetherazorwire@gmail.com. That email address again is insidetherazorwire@gmail.com. Last but not least, again, if you like to support this channel, please subscribe and hit the like button. Until next time, we'll be seeing you